Unreal Engine. Maybe you love it, maybe you hate it. One thing that we can all agree on is that the documentation could be better for many things, right? So I ran into an issue where I was trying to, what I'm trying to do here is essentially break this rock up, put it into the shit, right? Almost like sort of space mining, right? So ignore all the crudeness of uh, the meshes, right? It's obviously just some early prototyping stuff. Anyhow, so what I was doing is I was going through and grabbing a asteroid that I made. Very simple asteroid, not fancy. I want to keep it low poly just because there's going to be probably a bunch of these things, right? Anyhow, so I took this. Oh, get rid of that. This has to be, well, I mean, for one, it's too small, right? You can't see it, right? So I came through here, and then I would scale it up. And then, if you don't already know, Unreal has a fracturing system where you can basically make a fracture the asteroid to a bunch of little pieces. What I found with that is that if you scale it up and then fracture it, I'll go ahead and just show you. And the issue is kind of annoying even when you don't scale it up first. But yeah, so what we're going to do is just create a new fracture here real quick. We'll call it GC Asteroid 3, sure. Make it uniform. And we'll just leave default settings to fracture it, right? So the first thing I want to show you about this is the mass, right? It kind of caps out, especially if you have a large spacing, so a lot of giant objects. The mass here is capping out at 100,000, right? So if I didn't scale this up, then I would have left it at just 1. The mass would have been way smaller. It would have been about 6,500. But the problem that I found is that I can't change the mass. What you could do is start with a smaller mesh, right? And fracture that. If you fracture that, the mass is going to stay lower. Although what I'm finding is that there's not really a way to override that mass still. Maybe something I'm doing, I don't know. I try changing the physics material. Even after you shatter the object, the mass seems to apply to all the pieces equally, right? So if this whole object is 100,000 kilograms, whenever it fractures, each small piece was also 100,000 kilograms. So yeah, obviously not ideal. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to change a few settings to kind of get this to work in my setup. So that's good to go. If I come here and I start shooting this thing, you see eventually it breaks, which is great, right? The problem is, and my laser is going to be in the wrong position here because I have to update the logic when I actually got this to work. So what this laser does is it pulls the object that is at the end of your line trace to the player. I think it's pulling the position of the original object, right? Because I changed the logic to this basically. But anyhow, what you'll find is that you can't actually interact with these pieces. I mean, there's collision, but if you want to try and pick it up, they're not really. I mean, they're like bones of the larger object, right? So it gets a little bit weird. To get over that, basically what I did was I set up my own fracture outside of Unreal Engine, right? So what I found, my issue is that I wasn't able to apply force to these things, right? And I went searching and searching for hours to try and figure out how to kind of get over this. Didn't really find any result. Okay, so now I'm in Blender. This is where I actually made my very simple asteroid. So what you can do in Blender is there is a add-on that you can use. So if you go to preferences and then add-ons, it's called Cell Fracture. You just go ahead and install that, and then after you install it, what you're going to have is an object mode. There'll be this option under object, and then under quick effects to cell fracture. So you can fracture this. It's going to fracture your object like that, right? So I only got like 38 pieces when I did this. The reason being is because this doesn't have that many. The server isn't subdivided so much. If you want to get more pieces, you can just grab this here and then just subdivide the whole thing a couple of times, right? Yeah, so if you do that, and then we go back and we go back to object mode, object, go to quick effects, cell fracture, click OK here. Then it's going to give you the fractured version. The one drawback that I found is that it has these lines, right? Which they're not actually orange, they're just selected. So it'll look like that when you actually import it into Unreal, so you can kind of see where it'll be broken up. Bit of a drawback. What I'm going to do to overcome that is basically I'm just going to grab all these here, and then I'm going to parent these to my cube. So they're all children, and then we'll just import all of that into Unreal, basically. And essentially, the workaround is going to be whenever a certain damage threshold is reached, then the exterior, sorry, the first cube, right, that's overlaying this, which is whole. So I didn't really show this. Let's see, but you'll still have the original mesh when you do this, right? So it just creates, basically more meshes. So what we're gonna have is the original undivided part here first, and then whenever a certain damage threshold is met, we can break this baby up and spawn in, or basically display the other ones and hide the parent cube. Okay, so once you get that, you need to just import it into Unreal. So what I did basically is I went up to File, and then I went to Import into Level, just using the default settings. The cool thing with this is that whenever you import objects with this option, it's going to maintain it'll give you a BP of the entire thing built out with its original parenting that you had in Blender, right? So what that'll look like is, you'll get all these pieces in here, a little chaotic because there's like 100. But anyhow, you're also going to get this blueprint, right? Which is basically already ready to go. So you guys can't see that. I'll pull that over to here. Yeah. So here's my blueprint. As you can see, it basically has my parent cube here. Oops, let me turn down my camera speed. Yeah, so it'll have our parent blueprint here, and then underneath that, we can have, all of the children, right? Okay, so yeah, once you have that, it's pretty smooth sailing. You just got to set up your BP to, basically pull in the children. So I'm actually going to do that real quick. I won't, show that here in the video. All right, so now we can take a look at what I came up with. I'm in the BP of that asteroid that I made. There could be a cleaner way to do this. If there is, just let me know. I'm always down to learn. Anyhow, basically I just have the basic damage that comes up here once it drops below the threshold, which is currently set pretty low, just 100. Then it triggers the visibility of the parent object, which is the cube, to be set to nothing, right? Also, we're going to turn collision off. The reason why I'm turning collision off is because if you do not do that, you're going to have this sort of popping effect whenever you make the children visible. Okay, so once we do that, basically we do a for each loop to get all of the child components of my cube, which are all of the, smaller versions. We're going to cast to the static mesh component. For my game, I need to simulate physics on the pieces so that I can apply force to them. Maybe you don't. You can change the visibility here on each one of these pieces as well to make them visible. And then also we go ahead and enable collisions on them. Because by default, I basically set them up to have no collision. I'll show you what the profile looks like actually, just in case it helps you out. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so basically I just did a custom preset where I have this set to block all. The reason being is because it's just easier just to come through here and enable a collision via the collision enabled, right? So it's set to no collision by default, but once all of the pieces get into the world, then the collision is added on. Of course, all of these, the target's going to be that static mesh component, right? So we can actually probably clean this up. I'm not going to do that here in the video. But what it looks like in practice is this. So I come through here, I see my object, I'll shoot it. Now it's breaking apart nicely. I can interact with each piece separately as a mesh. Now, this is obviously just a kind of rough implementation. You're probably going to want to set up some sort of culling or something like that so that your performance isn't getting tanked in the long run. But, this is kind of a good starting point for you. I really hope this helps. If it does, just let me know. If it doesn't, also let me know, right? If you like this video, please let me know in the comments. You could also like the video and subscribe. I want to make more videos like this to kind of make things easier for folks working in Unreal Engine. I'm pretty new to it myself, so I think it's nice to document these sort of fixes whenever we actually find them, right? Who knows? Maybe you're some person 2 or 3 years down the road and you're looking at this video and this is exactly what you need, and I hope it is. Thanks for watching, and I wish you the best of luck with this masochistic journey of developing your game in Unreal Engine.